Good morning to all the professors and my dear friends. I am Chamani Shirantika, Sri Lankan student studying at National Thaipei University from 2019. My research topic is reinforcement learning based control of cancer chemotherapy treatments. First of all, I welcome my professor Dr. Chan Yung Yang, Professor Chung Yui Wang, Professor Liu Jung Huang, Professor Shi Fang Yang, Professor J.R. Chan Chen, and Dr. Kuo Wei Chen, who are presenting here today. And also, I welcome all of my friends presenting here today. And I'm going to show you my research story and the interesting research results. So this is the outline of my presentation. Prolegomena, research problem, research aim, state of the art, hypothesis, research methodology, research output, conclusions, and finally future works. So let's move to the first main section, the prolegomena. Here I will give you a brief introduction of the research, cancer, and finally chemotherapy. Introduction. Do you know that cancer is rated as the second leading cause of death all around the world and first in Taiwan? Cancers occur as a result of change in the nature of cells in the body and lead the abnormal cells to spread out to other tissues in the body and grow without a control. Cancer treatments include surgery, chemotherapy, radiation therapy, bone marrow transplant, immunotherapy, hormone therapy, cryoablation, etc. And surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation are the most common cancer treatments in the clinical practice. In this research, an agent-based model based on reinforcement learning was developed for cancer chemotherapy treatment planning that facilitates oncologists' decision in personalized optimal treatment regimen. Then I will show you the story of cancer. The human body is made up with trillions of cells. Cells nuclei contain genes that tells them when to develop, function, split, and die. When there's a change in the DNA or damaged DNA, genes can mutate. These mutated genes do not work properly since the instructions in their DNA gets mixed up. So the cells start to grow without a limit. And then, as the cancer cells grow limitlessly, a tumor will develop and grow. Cancer cells do obtain blood supply and nutrition like the normal cells, and they grow like normal cells. Cells around the cancer cells will also mutate or proliferate. Then I will tell you about chemotherapy. Chemotherapy are cancer treatments that uses drugs to target rapidly dividing cells in our body. As you can see in this figure, chemotherapy affects healthy cells and also cancerous cells. A person may have more than one chemotherapy drug. It is called a combination therapy. A combination therapy works well than a single drug, but also at the same time it causes more damage and more side effects. Chemotherapy can be administered to the body via oral, intravenous, subcutaneous, intraperitoneal, intraarterial, and intravascular methods. In this figure, it is the decision flow on a typical chemotherapy in clinical practice. So, as you can see, a course of chemotherapy is made up of several cycles. In each cycle, there is a treatment period and then a resting period. In the clinical practice, the resting period is normally 2 weeks. So, as you can see, chemotherapy is a real complex decision making process. Chemotherapy deciding factors are as follows. They are patient demographic characteristics such as age, gender, weight, height, disease status, ECOG-PS and CCI measure, and histology. Then patient psychological factors such as patient wishes, acceptance, and family influence, and physician factors such as clinical experience, responsibility, emotional care towards the patient, and environmental factors such as time availability, financial incentives, drug toxic dissidents, and drug regulations measures such as the national health insurance policies prevailing in Taiwan. Then I will move to the second main section, the research problem. Here I will talk about the traditional clinical trials, issues with the traditional approach, and the solution suggested by our research. Traditional clinical trials. Clinical trials are the experiments or the observations done in clinical studies. They are done with a group of individuals in order to determine the efficacy of a medical, surgical, or behavioral interventions. Clinical trials are a great way to test how successful the chemotherapy strategies are, but they are always affected by the problems such as long trial periods, high cost, and high complexity. Because cancer is a very terrible disease, effective and efficient therapies must be considered at the first time. So, the solution suggested is the computerized method based on reinforcement learning instead of the traditional clinical trials. In this figure, the below part is the solution suggested by our research, and this is the traditional clinical trial methodology. So the goals of my project includes enhance effectiveness and efficiency, ensure safety and overall survival, reducing the toxicities affecting by the chemotherapy treatments, and reducing the chemotherapy costs. And then we will move to the third main section, the research aim. The aim of the overall study is to develop a personalized suggestion system for the optimal clinical decision of cancer chemotherapy treatments according to a reinforcement learning scheme. The drug regimen would be suggested such that the overall clinical trial cost, the overall toxicity effects resultant from the chemotherapy treatments would be reduced, and the overall survival rate with the speedy recovery would be enhanced. So then, let's move to the fourth main section, the state of the art. Here I divided my literature review into 7 main sections such as RL on medicine, RL on DTR, RL on chemotherapy, mathematical models of cancer chemotherapy, offline reinforcement learning, supervised reinforcement learning, and supervised reinforcement learning on treatment prescription. And I read nearly this amount of papers in my research. And then I will tell you about the main points identified in the state of the art. Let's focus on this illustration now. The top part is the online reinforcement learning. There are agent platforms that provide growth. And the second part is the offline reinforcement learning. There, the agent learns from a fixed batch of data, no exploration, and only exploits. And then I will tell you 3 main conclusions I gathered from the literature review. First one is majority of researchers have approached the chemotherapy planning using RA schemes through online reinforcement learning. And second, majority of online reinforcement learning based approaches have used the model-free methods. Less used model-based methods. And third, offline reinforcement learning offline reinforcement learning based approaches are still in the emerging state, and they have potential for future development, especially in the real life problems. So let's move to the fifth main section, the hypothesis. The hypothesis of my research is using offline reinforcement learning to solve the problem of cancer chemotherapy treatment planning. And the inspiration behind this hypothesis came from the application of online reinforcement learning in finding the optimal treatment schemes by using mouse model, which is problematic to approach in the real human treatment setting. And this diagram shows the hypothesis more clearly. And then I will move to the main section, the sixth section, the methodology. Here I divided my research into 2 sections as online RL approach and offline RL approach. So let's move to the first section, the online RL approach. In the online RL approach, I focused on 2 mainly used models in the literature, the CC model and the TS model. And these are the observations, ODE equations, parameters associated with these two models. And in the CC model, the observations are number of tumor cells, number of normal cells, number of immune cells, and chemotherapy drug concentration in the blood. In the TS model, the observations are patients' negative wellness or toxicity and tumor size. And then I will show the online RA approach steps. Step 1, modeling chemotherapy as Markov decision process. Step 2, confirming cancer growth models and their ODE equations. Step 3, validating offline the methodological applicability of reinforcement learning by Q-learning. Step 4, building an online model-based RL for chemotherapy treatments. Step 5, determining the optimal drug regimen. Then I will show the online RL approach Markov decision process model. Here the agent is the doctor and the team. The actions are the RDI of drugs. The environment is the patient's state, and the reward function is this one. This is the reward function which has been mainly used in other researchers. And the observation and the state differ from the CC model and the TS model. And then this is the online RL approach system architecture. There are two kinds of RL methods as the model-free reinforcement learning, which was used to validate first the tumor behavior models, and the model-based RL, which was devised and built according to the validity of the models. And then I will show the research output. First, the online RL approach validations. Here, first I will show the methods used to validate the online RL model. I use three methods. Let's go one by one. Method 1 is the reliability verification between the association of the RL model and the ODEs. Here I change the action space considering some real special clinical decisions of the oncologist. So these are the some of the oncologist decisions I considered in this research. To sum up these things, the professor Dr. Wang and Dr. Ashidaka helped me a lot. First one is oncologist considers in balancing the effects of the normal cells, tumor cells, and immune cells. Second one, natural cells and immune cells are age dependent. So young patients' natural cells and the immune cells growth rates are higher than that of the elderly person. So when designing the treatment strategy for young patients, the oncologists tend to reduce the number of tumor cells with less attention to the normal cells and immune cells. The reason is young patient's body will regenerate his normal cells and immune cells more quickly than that of the elderly person. So for young patients, high doses are recommended. If the cancer is in the vital part of the body, such as the brain, then oncologists will pay more attention on the normal cells and take measures to prevent the destroying normal cells and reducing the cancerous cells. So patients with cancer in vital part of the body, less doses are recommended. In the case of pregnancy, the oncologist will pay more attention to give lower doses before the delivery of the baby and vary the dose amount after the delivery appropriately. And for elderly persons with other critical illnesses such as heart problems, blood pressure, like that, lower ranges of doses will be given and vary the amount in the middle of the treatment months considering the toxicity effects and the critical illness conditions. So thereby I identified three types of patients which I can use in the validation process. They are the younger patient, pregnant woman with cancer, and elderly person with other critical illnesses. And these are the action spaces ranges I used. Younger patient little bit high, a pregnant woman with cancer, lower action spaces ranges before the delivery and after the delivery, a high range which can be adjusted by the oncologist, and the elderly person with other critical illnesses, a moderate range of doses. So these are the action spaces ranges I used in the implementation process. And then this is the summary of the optimal policies generated. In the left side figure, you can see the summary of the given optimal chemotherapy dose variation. And the right side figures are the summary of the state variation for the optimal policy for the three type of patients. Here, the blue color means the younger patient, orange color means the pregnant woman, and the ash color is the elderly person. And then these are the optimal policy generated, and this is the what I have been grafted here. And young patient optimal policy reach at episode number 8033. Pregnant woman optimal policy reach at episode number 9517. And elderly person optimal policy reach at the episode number 9022. Here you can see that the here x-axis is the cycles, chemotherapy cycles, and the y-axis are the cell concentrations. Here you can see that the normal cells are increasing with the time and the tumor cells are decreasing for all the three type of patients. It is as a result of the chemotherapy drug, and the immune cells are decreasing first and become stable for all the three type of patients. But in the drug concentration in the blood, you can see that uh, for the trend for the young patient and the elderly person behave similar. That means increase in the drug concentration in the blood and become stable thereafter. But the pregnant woman with cancer, the drug concentration is fluctuating. It is a feature I identified in all of the simulations. So let's move to the second method, the model robustness validation to parameter variation in ODE is. Here I change the parameters associated with the CC model ODE equations. Here case 1 means the nominal model, case 2 means minus 12% parameter variation, and case 3 means plus 18 parameter variation. So this is the CC model parameters, parameter descriptions, and nominal model values and unit. And so I use these three cases, and simply this is the artificial generation of clinical data. So these are the simulation results for the parameter variation for the three type of patients. Here the first figures are the random policies, three random policies, and the second type of three figures are the states variation for the random policy. And here the green color means the nominal model result, blue color means the minus 12 point parameter variation, and the pink color means the plus 18% parameter variation. So I see that although I change these parameters, the behavior is actually similar in all of these graphs. And then I will move to the method 3. It is validity of RL chemo under varieties of patients' states. There I checked state behavior with 45 simulated patients in 3 iterations. So this is how I did the validation process. There I constructed 15 simulated patients for each patient type. So there are 45 patients, one patient type 15, like that 15 to 3. There are 45 simulated patients. How I constructed these 15 patients is by changing their initial state values of natural cells, tumor cells, immune cells, and drug concentration. So I did this process for all the 3 patient types, and there I followed 3 iterations. First iteration is I selected their doses randomly and apply RL model and select the optimal drug schedule. And for the second iteration, I used 80% of the weightage from the optimal policies found in the first iteration. And for the 20% of dosages, I select the dose randomly. And for the third iteration, I use 80% of the weightage from the optimal policies found in the second iteration, and 20% weightage I selected those randomly. And then this is the summary of the results for the 45 patients uh, in the three type of iterations for all the three patient types. Similar to the method 1, this is the summary of the optimal chemotherapy dose variation found, and this is the summary of the states variation for the optimal policy for the three type of patients. Similar to the previous case, the blue color means the young patient, green color means the pregnant woman, and the ash color means the elderly woman with elderly person with other type of illnesses. Here also all the graphs behave similar to the method 1, and this drug concentration in the blood is the odd graph here. That means that for the pregnant woman, the drug concentration is increasing and then decreasing. It is the main feature I identified here. And then, with these validations and continuous discussions with Dr. Wang and Dr. Chen, I found there are many problems associated with the online RL approach chemotherapy designs available in the literature. They are first one is unmeasurable. That means practically cell counts of an organ cannot be measured in each of the chemotherapy cycles. And the second one is chemotherapy deciding factors in the real life, real clinical environment are not addressed in the already available chemotherapy designs. And third one is performed validations are sometimes problematic in real life. And fourth one is chemotherapy modeling via ODE equations is more research based and there's no practical sense. And after the validations and these simulations, the doctor's disagreement with the ODE equations was the main problem I faced. Therefore, uh, I tend to develop the offline reinforcement learning approach. So this is the end of the online reinforcement learning approach, and then let's move to the offline reinforcement learning approach. Here with the problems I stated before, we couldn't forward in that direction. So we collected the real human colon cancer data from the Chensin General Hospital Shipai. Uh, there we collected 40 patients colon cancer data in stage 4 metastatic stage, and the chemotherapy treatment strategies were belonging to line 1 treatment strategies. There, Dr. Chen and Dr. Wan helped us a lot for this data collection process, and I especially thank our team member Weifu for helping me and Professor in the data collection process. And then these are the offline oral approach steps. Step 1, modeling chemotherapy as Markov decision process. Step 2, design the real patient state estimator based on the individual patient's observations. Step 3, searching for the optimal policy using CQL and MOPO algorithms. Step 4, building an offline model-based reinforcement learning for chemotherapy treatment. Step 5, determining the optimal drug regimen. And this is the offline RL approach Markov decision process model. This is similar to the online RL approach, but there's difference. Agent is the doctor and the team, and actions are the RDI of the drugs, and environment is the patient state. And observations are the clinical observations in the real human clinical practice. They are tumor size, toxicity, drug effects, drug response, CCI, ECOG performance status, demographics such as age, gender, height of the patient, and the state will be the real patient state decided by the oncologist. And the reward function is like this. There, I considered individual reward for tumor size, individual reward for weight loss, individual reward for side effects, and individual reward for drug response, reward for death. And the total reward will be the accumulation of these five type of rewards. And here, doctor, our oncologist helped me to design this reward function. And this is the offline RL approach system architecture. First, we will set our patient clinical measurements to the model-based state estimation module. They are by using function approximation, I decide the real patient state, and then it will be fed to the colon cancer reinforcement learning chemotherapy module. There, the optimal chemotherapy treatment plan will be suggested. And then I divided my project into 5 modules. As the presentation layer contains the data acquisition module, the application layer contains the data pre-processing module, model-based state estimation module, colon cancer reinforcement learning module, and the database layer contains the results logging module. And then I will show the details of these modules one by one. First one is data acquisition module. Here we collected data related to these three types: patient demographic measures, clinical diagnosis measures, and combination therapy drugs. Patient demographic measures are age, weight, height, gender of the patient. The clinical diagnosis measures are tumor size, side effects index, CCI score, echo performance measure, drug response, and the decision after the therapy. Combination therapy drugs are the 6 types of using colon cancer treatment drugs. They are cetuximab, bevacizumab, irinotecan, 5-FU, Xeloda, and oxapeltin. Here I collected this data for all the consecutive chemotherapy cycles for the 40 patients in their line 1 treatment strategies. Then these are the data processing. In the data processing module, these are the data processing techniques I used: feature creation, feature subset selection, instance selection, handling missing values, and attribute transformation. And then in the model-based state estimation module, a single state value was generated for each of the transition with the support of the oncologist. And here I obtained the support of the domain knowledge of the oncologist via his clinical treatment experience over years. So a single value was generated for all these observations by using function approximation. Here I used a neural network and a random forest classifier.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Sometimes the sound may be reduced, so maybe a little louder.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is the CCRLC architecture, and this is the DynaQ architecture with CQL and MOPO algorithms. There, the directorial update was acquired from this CQL, that means conservative queue learning algorithm, and the planning update was acquired from this MOPO algorithm, that means model-based offline policy optimization algorithm. And then in the results logging module, there are 5 major directions of the offline RL implementation. They are results optimization, exploitation, find the optimal drug schedule within the data set, and exploration means predict optimal drug schedule using new observations, and behavior of prediction error with training size, and the behavior of scores related to CQL and MOPO algorithms. So I will show the research output in these 5 major research directions. First one is results optimization. There I use the grid search CV of scikit-learn with the CQL and MOPO algorithms. They are the candidate parameters are these parameters, and the selected hyperparameters are these ones. And here I use the scorer as the TD scorer as the strategies to evaluate the performance of the cross-validated model on the test set. Here I show this slide in the presentation because this validation, this optimization process took a very long time and very high GPU power. And then the adjustment to the optimal policy. Here I made the adjustment to the chemo RL model suggestion. That means I concluded that the drug schedule is the combination of the RL algorithm suggestion and the oncologist's previous decision, and it seems more meaningful. That means we are all also consider the oncologist's previous decision into our algorithm suggestion. And so this is the supervised reinforcement learning incorporation into the problem domain. And we prepared our first manuscript based on this idea and submitted to the Neuropass 2021 conference. And in these two figures, first one is the RL adjustment factor selection for the cetuximab based patient, and second one is the RL adjustment factor decision based on the bevacizumab based patient. These two type of patients were named because of the national health insurance regulations policies considering by the oncologist. There I found that the minimum variation between the oncologist given dose and our model suggestion is around an RL adjustment factor of 0.4. You can see that here this is the RL adjustment factor and this is the mean dose change. So the minimum is around 0.4 value. So I considered that for my implementation, I will consider this RL adjustment factor of 0.4 for the future implementations. So let's move to the second one. It is exploitation. Find the optimal drug schedule within the data set. That means within the collected 40 patients data. And this is a summary of the exploitation of data set. There are 6 types of drugs, and the left figure is the summary of the chemotherapy given dose variation in the 6 chemotherapy cycles, and the right side is the summary of the predicted 4 drug combinations. Why these 4 drug combinations? They are as a result of the national health insurance regulations. That means 5FU and Xeloda can be used as substitutes, and bevacizumab and cetuximab can be used as substitutes. Irinotecan and oxaliplatin can be used as substitutes. So after we decide this, this is for the patient number 37. And after we decide these drug combinations, our doctors said that we should consider these factors when deciding whether these treatment strategies are correct. So first one is the individual dose amount suggested by our model should closely similar to that of the individual dose amount given by the oncologist. That means here in my simulations, the drug combination 1 is similar to the chemotherapy given dose variation. So, doctors said that my model should suggest closely similar results to the given dose variations. And the consecutive dose schedules of each drug combination along the chemotherapy cycle should adhere to a similar pattern. That means in these combinations, the cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3, those consecutive cycles should have the similar drug amounts for this for their sequential treatments, and the trend of the drug combination should be similar across the same chemotherapy cycles. That means in each of these drug combinations there should be a similar trend. So I focus on these 3 factors when checking the drug combinations and the chemotherapy treatments suggested by our model. And then I will show the reward comparison between the predicted and the given doses. This is for the similar same patient number 37. Here, this figure means the reward comparison for the 6 cycles, and this figure is the cumulative reward comparison for the 6 cycles. And here, the red line shows the rewards for the RL agent is predicting for the optimal pulse. That means my model. And the green line shows the actual reward based on the reward function we generated. And so we can see that the red line is always above the green line. That means the RL algorithm shows a higher reward in each cycle and higher cumulative reward for the optimal policy compared to the actual dose schedule given by the patient, given to the patient by the oncologist. And then I will move to the third result section. Exploration means predict optimal drug schedule using new observations. That means apart from the 40 patients collected, when a new patient comes, what would be the result? There, the methodology was little bit different. The cycle one, my algorithm will predict the real patient state using the function approximation and the dose amount. But in the cycle 2 to 6, it will only predict the relative dose index. I will tell the reason. It is because we can't see his clinical diagnosis measures, so we can't give the measure for the dose amount, but we can give the relative dose index. By using the relative dose index, oncologist can measure his dose amount to be given in the sequential chemotherapy cycles. So when a new patient comes, in the cycle 1 real patient status and the dose amount, for that I consider the 40 patients data, and in cycle 2 to 6 to predict the relative dose index, I consider the 40 patients data plus the predicted cycle 1 dose amounts. That means this dose amount also I considered in predicting the relative dose index for cycle 2 to 6. So this is an example. This is a virtual patient number 41. So first, in the first cycle, I will record his patient observations, and the algorithm will predict his real patient status as 10. And in the first cycle, algorithm will predict these 4 drug combinations. So for the cycle 2 to 6, algorithm will predict the relative dose indexes, like the 4 drug combination for the same drug combinations, and it will predict the relative dose index. So this is reward comparison between the predicted and the given doses. I took for this one already available 3 patients, patient number 37, patient number 7, and patient number 26. They are only for cycle 1. I plotted the reward. The red dot shows the reward which the RL agent is predicting for the optimal policy, and the green dot means the actual reward based on the reward function we generated. So we can see that in all of the 3 cases, the red dot value is higher than that of the green dot value. That means the RL algorithm shows a higher reward for 1 cycle ahead for the optimal policy compared to the actual dose given to the patient in the first cycle by the oncologist. So then I will move to the fourth research direction. Fourth research result direction, behavior of prediction error with the training size. Here, error difference with training size, you can see 6 plots here. The plots 1 to 5 means individual drug error plotting results, and the 6th plot means the overall mean dose change per patient. That means first one is cetuximab dose change per patient, second one is bevacizumab dose change, third one is irinotecan dose change, fourth one is 5-FU dose change, and fifth one is Celodart dose change. Here, the x-axis means the number of patients, so I am increasing the patients to the model by 5, 10, 15, 20, and 27 like that. And I'm plotting the mean dose change per patient. That means dose change means what is the difference between the what the oncologist have suggested and what my algorithm predicts. So I can see that in all of these plots, the mean dose change is reducing when I increase in the number of patients. So as a conclusion, I can say that when more patients are added to this model, the model will perform better by reducing the error difference with the clinical decision and the technical decision. So more the patients will be more the better our model. So then I will show the fifth main research results: behavior of scores related to CQL and MOPO. Here I constructed these graphs related to CQL and MOPO algorithms. Scores for the CQL algorithm are TD error, value scale, discounted advantage, initial state value estimation error. And the scores for MOPO algorithm are MOPO loss, observational error, reward error, variance. And I have explained the theoretical details, equations, and the basic theory in the thesis. And here, the main graph is the steady error. Here, I found that the lowest steady error is at the 50th epoch. So I stop the training process near the 50th epoch, and I draw all these graphs for this 50th epoch. And by looking at these graphs, I could get several decisions about my model. And so I also fine tune the model by checking these graphs behavior, because the by looking at this meaning, I could get some information regarding my model. So by looking at these graphs, I also changed my model and fine tuned the model. Then finally, I will move to the eighth main section, conclusions of my research. These are the conclusions of my research. Conclusion 1: deciding the personalized optimal dosing schedule for the cancer patients is a serious problem oncologists are facing. So, designing a computerized solution is a worthy research direction. Conclusion 2: established ODE equations of cancer growth and chemotherapy are worth the study in the research domain, but they are actually problematic in the real clinical practice. Like you saw in my presentation, there are so many validation problems in the real online RL module. And conclusion 3: offline reinforcement learning is a perfect research area that brings out practical paths to solve real life sequential decision making problems. And conclusion 4 is the used CQL algorithm and MOPO algorithm provide the necessary benchmarks to find the optimal dosing schedule for the individual patients. And next I will show the next main section, future works. Here I identify these future works, development of the CQL and MOPO algorithms more sharply. I want to say that both of these algorithms are new algorithms. They have been invented in 2020. And so I see that there are many background details to be studied, and there can be many research directions. And second one is implementation of an unique model that can be used to other variations of cancer. That means not only for colon cancer. And third one is development of an algorithm based on supervised reinforcement learning for the RL adjustment factor decision. And fourth one is fine tune the model with domain experts' ideas, criticisms, and comments. And then these are the important references I have used in my research. And then I will show the publication milestones which I have decided to do with my professor. And here the manuscript 1 have been already submitted, and manuscript 2 is now ready for the submission, and manuscript 3 and 4 are still in the writing process. And then finally, I make this time to thank you all for attending my oral defense presentation. Actually, this is the most awaited day of me at Taiwan. So presenting you all at my defense is something I think as a great honor for me. And especially Professor Wang and Dr. Chen, thank you for helping me and the team throughout the research time and spending your valuable and busy times. So I learned a lot from your research and I learned a lot of ideas from your discussions and worthy research directions. And Dr. Professor Huang, thank you for attending for my thesis defense. And also Professor Chang and Professor Yang, thank you for attending here today. And finally, I especially give my special thank giving to my professor, Dr. Chang Yung Yang. From the day one I started my research, professor was a strong shadow for me, helping in each and every step I keep and monitoring all the research works very carefully. So thank you, professor, for all the helps you gave me. And then I will also thank my friends also. This is not a research I did alone. My friends around me helped me a lot and inspired me and motivated me even through a single word. And many thank you from my friends at lab number 607 and lab number 602, my roommates and my other friends. Uh, and especially, I like to thank my lab friends who are presenting here today, especially Weifu, who is my teammate, and he helped me from the data collection process and throughout the research. And my best friend Nilantar and Eve, Jason, Agan, Sanaya, Liu, Steven, and also Joanne. Thank you so much for being with me in these 2 years. And also, I will take a minute to thank my beautiful family also. I know that they are not here, but they are waiting for my phone call saying that I finished my oral defense. And so, thank you, my mother, father, and my twin sister. And finally, wishing that this terrible disease of cancer will end from this world, I will finish my presentation. And thank you so much for attending today and listening to my presentation.
Yes, very good. So we appreciate the presentation. Maybe